Hi, and welcome to episode 141 of the Heartland Knits podcast. My name is Vicki, but you can find me as Heartland Knits on Ravelry and Instagram. And today is Sunday, April 17th, 2016. It's my birthday today. It's been a long time since I've recorded a podcast. I didn't really intend to take a month off from recording. It just kind of happened. I Sunday would kind of roll around and I think I need to record, or I would like fully intend to record, and then I think, oh, I didn't have a lot of knitting to show you. I've been knitting a lot, but it's mostly been on like one thing, and it's not like really exciting to talk about. And then there were a few weeks in there where I was just crabby because, it was getting to be April and I wanted spring to arrive, and it just never seemed to arrive. But it's here. It's finally here. We've had the best weekend. Perfect that it just happened on my birthday weekend too. So I thought, I went to church and I came home and I thought, okay, I'm just going to sit down and try to record. I have my birthday chai from Starbucks. If you have their, you have a Starbucks card and you've gotten to be like a gold level, you get a free drink on your birthday. So I thought, while I have this, I will sit down and I will record. And if I don't like it, I just won't put it up. So hopefully this will make it through. But as always, I'll start out with what's been on my needles. And like I said, it's been mostly one thing. It's been mostly the bohus. I really wanted to finish this up in March, and that just didn't happen. The beginning, like first half of March, I really pretty much didn't even work on it. So nothing's going to get finished that way. And then after that, I really started working on it, and then it just became the sole project that I've been knitting on. And, I'm doing the body of it. This is the blue one bohus. I showed this in my last show. I'm trying to see which is the front and which is the back, but sometimes it's hard to tell here. Okay, so this is the blue one bohus. Let me move this out of the way completely so nothing gets dunked in there. But as you can see, I've got now the whole body finished. The edge is rolling because I just did 2 ridges of garter and then a picot bind off for the bottom. And it's rolling, so I might need to open that back up and do another ridge or maybe even 2 of garter before doing the picot bind off. But I will give it a block first and see what happens. And I have one sleeve on the needles that I'm working on, and I have one sleeve finished. When I was thinking about, how I wanted this, it's going to be a pullover, I wanted sort of elbow length sleeves, kind of like these are. And I did this one that way. And then after I bound it off and sewed the seam up, I tried it on and I thought, I didn't know if I liked it. So this one, my other little pullover bohus, the red palm, I did kind of 3/4 length sleeves, kind of just past my elbow, and I like how those fit. So this one I am decreasing to sort of make them that length, and then I will try it on again when I finish that, and if I will change whichever one I want, to how, whichever one I like, I will change the other sleeve too. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to change this one. But as you can see, I just did the little picot bind off just a nice little delicate edge, and I plan on doing that up around the neck too. So this has been really for the last probably 3 weeks the only thing that I've knit on. It's a lot of stitches in lace weight yarn when you do one of these, and it hasn't like felt like a slog at all that I'm just doing all this kind of stockinette. It's actually felt, kind of nice. I've been doing other things, doing like spring cleaning kind of things, and but I can pick that up and put it down, and it's been nice and kind of relaxing. I must tell you, I am very hungry to be knitting a shawl, lacy kind of a shawl, but I'm not letting myself start one because I that needs to be finished. The other project that I have been knitting on, I started this kind of at the beginning of March, and I knit on it a lot back then, but it hasn't seen kind of the light of day in about 3 weeks. And that is another little cardigan. It's called the Garden Party. I'll show you what the finished one looks like. It's a design by Carol Sunday, and it's just this little kind of a open front cardigan, almost like a shrug, that has a all over lace pattern and then a garter stitch ruffle around the front that goes around to the back. And I am knitting that out of Sun Valley Fibers, her MCN fingering, and I am making just a total mess of all the strands I have coming from it, but oh well. The color I'm kind of holding it up is called Fire Witch, which is this beautiful pink, and so this, oh, there's so many strands, is where I am on it. It's got a really nice construction in that it kind of flows. You start at the back of the collar, you do like the little bit of the back collar, and then you pick up the stitches and you do kind of a top-down raglan, but you're putting the garter ruffly edge on all at the same time. And then you do kind of one sleeve. It's been so long can't even do this anymore. You kind of do one sleeve and then you pick up stitches, and I have my stitches on a needle for the second sleeve. So I've got my stitches on a needle for that, and then you'll go back and you'll do the rest of the body. So when you finish that edging, you're finished. But it is, I think this top part is blocked out, this part of the lace pattern. I blocked out when I kind of did this sleeve because I wanted to, get the length right and stuff. It's a really nice pattern. There are things you have to keep track of because you're doing the lace pattern, you're doing short rows for the ruffle, and you're doing increases for the raglan and things. But it's actually kind of fun doing that. I enjoy it. Keeping track of all kinds of things. I love how she has designed this kind of diamond lace pattern that goes into this sort of diagonal this way. Lace stitch for the cuff, which I just think is really, really pretty. A little pretty detail. And it's been so long since I've worked on it. I can't remember what else I was going to tell you about it. So anyway, I'm anxious to get finished with this little sweater, because the aim of making this little sweater was to kind of be able to wear it with a lot of my dresses, and a lot of my dresses seem to be matching this color pink. Go figure. So I want to get that. So this is going to be next order of business after I finish the bows. I want to really get going on this again. And the reason why I haven't been knitting on it is because it's so much fun to knit. That's what happened at the beginning of March when I started it. It just kind of took over, and that's all I wanted to knit on. And I just, I want to get the other sweater finished, first. So for off the needles, I don't really have anything kind of off the needles, but I thought I would use this segment because I finished my dress. Remember I said I was going to try to sew a dress like 6 weeks ago? I did it, and I'm so excited. So I finished this on Tuesday. So I'm going to try to stand up so that you can see it. I'm going to see if so. So this is my dress. I should take off my sweater. So I'm hoping to finish that sweater, but so I am like super, super happy with how it came out. It was a fun process, pretty much. Putting in the zipper, I put in the zipper last weekend, and honestly, it was probably as stressful as when I cut my first steek into a pullover into a cardigan. It was pretty stressful. I got kind of half of the zipper, sewn, and I just kind of like slumped over the sewing machine. I have to knit, and I ran in here to knit for half an hour. Knit on just plain stockinette. It was wonderful. It's like I can do this. The zipper was stressful, but that's a story unto itself. But it's got princess seams. I don't know how much is going to show with my camera, but it's got princess seams, and it's completely lined, the bodice and the skirt, and it was I'm so happy I did it. I'm glad that it turned out, and the first try at sewing the bodice, because I did do muslin, because I had no clue what I was doing. I had chosen a size like completely too big, so that was good that I did a trial run. The fabric, I have a little thing of the fabric. This fabric is a cotton voile, and I know that's a French word, and there's like a different pronunciation, but my mom used to call it voile, so that's what I'm calling it. But it is Starling Studio by Valorie Wells, and it's called Daisy May. So is what the fabric looks like kind of up close, but it is the perfect match to my sweater. That's kind of why I started that sweater. It's not done, but it looks good, with black. Like I had this little sweater to wear, and so let's see. it was a process. So I learned so much. The kind of like around the neckline and the sleeves are all understitched, which I had never kind of done before, and I love the kind of finished look that gives. The skirt has pleats in it. I didn't do the skirt in the book, and this is from what is it? So Many Dresses, So Little Time is the book. But they had a skirt that was kind of pleated all the way around, but that really wouldn't look good on me. I wanted to have kind of like right in the middle of the front and the back to be kind of, flat with no pleats, but then, kind of pleats on the side. And that's how like many of my dresses that I bought, in years past are. And, I like how they fit. And that was my whole aim in doing this dress was I wanted it to be like a dress that I would buy at Nordstrom's. I didn't want to do kind of a kind of loose fitting, like, kind of easy thing, with just a couple seams, because that just is, not, I wouldn't have bought that a dress like that. So I wanted to get one. I wanted to do one like I would buy. So that's why I chose the princess seams, because I did a lot of dissecting of my dresses and going through and looking at all of them in way more detail than kind of I've ever, I would, if I bought one, I would, put it on, and if I liked how it fit, then I would buy it. But I didn't kind of look to see, oh, that one has like darts like this, or this one, So I did a lot of kind of dissecting of that. But it's probably a little more, um, with a princess seamed kind of bodice, because you're actually sewing that together, as opposed to kind of like having a piece and then using darts to shape it. But I did that, and the invisible zipper was because I wanted it. I kind of went off book when I did that. And the other thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to kind of do this like by myself, like using that book. I learn well from books. That's how I grew up learning, was from books. I didn't want to, necessarily say, oh, I want, find somebody on YouTube or whatever. I kind of wanted just to use my head and figure things out, because that's how I know I learned too. So the book, when we're going to put in the zipper, the first thing with the zipper is, I have this old sewing machine from 1947. So an invisible zipper, you use a special foot for the to put it in, that kind of has little grooves that the zipper teeth fit into, to get it in kind of straight, and to kind of move the teeth out of the way of the needle. And I have this old machine. They don't make like a zipper foot for that, but I have like a regular zipper foot. So I posted a question on Instagram, like, what do I do? Do I put in a regular one? How would you do it? And I got a lot of, great responses. So, thank you everybody for that. So what I ended up doing is, I kind of went off book, because the book had you put it in, so that when you sewed it in, the final look was so that the zipper tape kind of, when you like, you kind of, the zipper kind of, turns in, was like on the outside of the lining fabric. So it would be the outer fabric, the lining fabric, and then the zipper tape. And I wanted the zipper to be like wedged in between the two like materials, the outer fabric and this lining, and then the zipper kind of in between, like, a dress you bought at the store would have. And so I had to like figure out this way, and there's probably an easier way, but this is the way that I figured it out, is I pinned the zipper to the outer fabric, and then I basted it just by hand, because that was the first time I really got to try the thing on to see that it fit, to close it up, because I don't have anybody to even sort of like pin me into it. So I did that, and I had to change a little something on it, and that was fine. So then I had to pin and baste again, and then I basted along. There's kind of a little groove that you generally would sew, the line that you sew down, when you're using that invisible zipper foot. So I just kind of hand basted down that line, with a contrasting color thread. And then I flipped the lining sort of inside out, so that I had like the two right sides together, and then I turned that. So I sewed down using my regular zipper foot. I sewed down that that line of contrasting color basting line um, on the machine with the regular zipper foot, kind of with one hand in the inside, making sure that the like I would like kind of push the teeth like apart and then like put my thumb like right in front of it and like kind of roll that down, and also making sure that like the lining, the rest of the line and everything stayed away from um, the needle, like it didn't get caught, like the rest of the material didn't get caught under the needle and stuff. So that's why it was so stressful. But it worked, and it's like in there. Um, I'm already planning my second dress. Um, and I'll like talk more about that like another time. That one I will probably, so that my whole emphasis with this dress is I wanted to get a dress that fit me, and I feel like I really kind of accomplished that. It fits very similar to like all the my store-bought dresses. So that was my total aim. So um, both the lining are there and the outer fabric are cotton, and I started out like just kind of pinking with the pinking shears, the seams and stuff. But my next dress, what I really want to concentrate on, like learning about, are kind of all the like fine finishing details. Um, so that one, I'm going to use this same pattern, but I want to do French seams and faux French seams to like really kind of finish off all the edges of my the raw edges on the seams. So everything will be enclosed really nicely. Um, you know, I kind of approach the sewing similar to how I approach my knitting. Is I want it to be better than something that you can buy in the store. But I want to make mine sort of the old-fashioned way and like finish everything by hand. I did do a hand sewn hem on the outer one, and then on the inner the lining hem, I did do that by machine. I just did a little kind of rolled, it's like maybe half an inch, not even a half an inch, between a quarter and a half, that I just sewed down with the machine because I wanted to kind of practice, if I ever wanted to top stitch something, kind of get used to, practicing, putting a line of stitching kind of right next to the edging. So my next dress is going to have French seams and faux French seams, and I'm going to do a hand-picked zipper because I think that's important to learn too. So it was a bit of a cathartic experience because I, kind of sat, I just remember my mom using that machine so much growing up. It made me like think of her in a different light a little bit, in that I think a lot of people who are kind of at the end, they're the caretakers of their parent. They tend to like think of them in that way, rather than, as like, their mother as like when they were a child. But it helped me sort of remember. I'm getting all emotional now. Gotta remember like her when I was little. But it also made me sad because I thought, I bet she was like so disappointed when I didn't take to sewing when I was little, when she taught me to sew and stuff. And she was probably like really hoping that I would, because I know so many knitters who love it when their daughters, oh, I'm teaching her to knit, or like the son is going out with a girl or married, oh, she's a knitter, and they're all happy. And so I thought of I bet she was disappointed because she knew my sisters were not going to be. And, I was like, but um, I was really afraid of the sewing machine when I was little. So I don't feel like I'm afraid of the sewing machine anymore. I feel like I'm, in control of it. And I'm still a little afraid of what I really need, like work on, is my ironing skills. It's like not. I'm still a little afraid of the iron, but I need like practice on that. Anyway, enough about the dress. If you're not like into sewing, you're probably like, be quiet. This is a knitting podcast. Um, so let's see what next. In combination of sort of imagining and show and tell, I wanted to just kind of give you a few of my thoughts on a book that I received. And, in imagining, like this is like, I wanted it a lace shawl like so badly. Um, but I received a copy of this book, Ultima Thule, from Denise at Lost City Knits. Denise is, I've only met her like once, but I feel like we're camp sisters because she attends Meg Swanson's knitting camp every summer like I do. We go to different sessions, but there's that camp sisterhood that sort of, but I did meet her last summer. But she really, really kindly, sent me a copy of this book. And it is, I know it's been on a few other podcasts and stuff, so I'm not going to go through like every pattern and stuff, but just kind of give you my thoughts. Um, it's it's a wonderful book. I mean, besides the really, really beautiful, knitting patterns, the essays that her husband Chris wrote about Shetland, the places, the people, and they're just enchanting and just lovely, lovely to read. It's sort of, Shetland went through a big change in the 1970s. Oil was discovered in the North Sea, and so kind of life there changed a lot, or so it seems. And a lot of the stories they kind of talk about remind me very much of stories that my mom used to tell of like how things were when she was growing up and she lived on a farm, and the things that they did. They um, were very self-sufficient in that, if they wanted to eat that whatever, thing, crop or whatever, in the wintertime, they had to, you know, put it up and put it by, and do it in the summer. Um, so there's a lot of like stories like that, but they are just beautifully written, and you get a real sense of the people from them. So that's a kind of a big difference with just kind of your regular like knitting pattern book. It's a fairly short book. It's 57 pages, and it has like beautiful photographs, and it's laid out in a very easy, readable manner. The photographs, relate directly to whatever is being, discussed. Um, that there's, shawl patterns and scarf patterns and a cowl pattern. This one on the cover is knit out of her silk lace weight, and I bought a skein of that last summer at Stitches. So when this came, I wanted to cast this one on, and there's a pie shawl in here that I really wanted to cast on because I have a skein I bought it at my very first knitting camp. It's a skein of cobweb, well, probably not cobweb, but it's a pretty thin lace weight. Maybe it is cobweb, but it's from Jocelyn's Fiber Farm, and I don't think she dyes anymore. But it's beautiful. It was my favorite color that she dyed, kind of blues and greens, and um, so I really wanted to cast that one on. And then there's a beautiful, beautiful hap shawl that I think is, well, I mean, it's got half, she's got directions for a half hap and a full hap. But the one that really intrigued me was this one with all those kind of bright, vivid colors. That's done out of the yarn that she dyes, because she dyes these very rich, vibrant colors. And I don't think I have seen a hap kind of quite like that with those very intense colors. And I really, really like it. Um, hap shawls are are fun to knit. I've knit quite a few of them. You could write whole books on hap shawls. Sharon Miller did. I have hers, and it's beautiful. And she did a lot of colorways, but I don't think she did one quite like that. And Kate Davies is writing a book right now about hap shawls. Um, so that's a beautiful one. And then there's this beautiful, full pie shawl. That it's what's nice about the patterns is Denise writes like a paragraph or two kind of about the inspiration behind why she designed them, kind of the stitch patterns that she used, and it's also done in a really nice style in that there's kind of a few lines or a paragraph of like overview of like what you're going to be doing, and then it goes into kind of step-by-step instructions. So it's broken down that way so that if however kind of you like your patterns, like some people just like more words than others, some people like less words than others, so that you kind of get like both of them. The charts, like trying to find a page with charts on it. The charts are really nice and large. A lot of times with kind of lace charts, I really like to have them on my iPad so that I can kind of zoom them out and make them bigger for the one with the bad eyes. And these, I don't feel like you really need to do that. They're also, the charts are gridded in black, which is really nice, which you think, well, yeah, why wouldn't they be gridded in black? I recently did downloaded a pattern, and I think they did it for maybe for stylistic reasons or whatever, but the grids on the chart are in gray and you can't see it. It's like if like they were done in pencil or something. I think, why on earth would you do this? I don't know. So anyway, I do really like this book. But the one thing, and I feel like if I didn't say this, because it is kind of one of my big things, that if I didn't tell you, I would not be kind of being straight with you. I'll be honest, I don't usually, take like if somebody like offers like things for review or whatever, I don't often accept them. And I do that for a reason, because I just feel like if I hold something up and say, look, I just bought this yarn or this pattern or this book or whatever, there's something about it saying more if I tell you that like I plunked down my money for this, than if you get something and it's just being sent to you. I didn't start a podcast to get free stuff. Plain and simple. So that and that's just like how I feel about things. Everybody, is entitled to however they, feel about them. But when Denise offered this to me, I jumped right away because I knew that I would like it. I just knew. And I do really like it. But there's just one thing in there. And that is, none of the patterns have a gauge listed. And that is one of my really big things. And you know that. And I just keep thinking of that great big pie shawl, and it's got an applied lace edge around the whole thing. You do not want to be knitting that and get halfway around the edge and run out of yarn. That would be like so horrible to happen. Um, so, I mean, just for peace of mind, I got, 6 stitches to the inch in garter stitch, so that if you're using hand spun, or, just for like the peace of mind when you're doing a great big piece, that you would know, okay, I'm getting like 6 stitches to the inch in garter stitch, that this should be okay. And maybe as these items get knit up more and people put them on Ravelry so that you can see, and a lot of people are really good. I mean, I don't put anything on Ravelry, so but a lot of people are very meticulous and weigh their yarn and figure the exact yardage so that they can say, I knit this shawl and it took 768 yards of yarn. And so you can sort of get a better sense of I don't know. Anyway, I just felt like I had to tell you that, because if you went out and like ordered the book or whatever, and then thought, Vicki, this is your big thing, you're always talking about gauge and you didn't tell us about this, with the hard copy book, which I know that they're selling off their website, and probably they go to a lot of shows. With the hard copy book, you get a code for the digital copy. So what I want to do is, Denise sent this to me very kindly, and so I love, the hard copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm not downloading using the code that's on the back of my copy, and I'm going to pass that along to you. So I will start a thread in the Ravelry group, which is Friends of Heartland Knits, and there'll be some kind of a prompt or something to answer, and I'll let it open for a few weeks, and then I'll pull a name by random number generator. You do need to be a member of the group in order to win, and then I will pass along the code in the back so that you can download a copy of it. So I talked for longer than I was expecting. It is the most gorgeous day outside. I've got the porch door open. I don't know, there's not much going on outside, but my garden is in desperate need of cleanup, but I might just sit on the porch and knit because it's a beautiful day. It's going to be 75. Like, how wonderful is that? Wednesday morning, it snowed. It came down as like heavy snow. So it's big changes. It could snow again. It could, but let's hope it doesn't. But anyway, I wanted to thank you all for hanging on there with me and for writing to me. I got a few notes, and I really appreciate hearing from everybody. Going forward, I will try to be a little more regular. Hopefully that bohus will be finished soonly, and I have plans for some more of special shows. It was nice to hear the feedback from people who really liked kind of the bohus show. Thank you all for joining me this week, and until I see you next week, from my heart to yours, happy knitting.